Every outlaw biker club wears its colors, a vest decorated with the club's name, its symbol, and a banner marking the chapter they call home. But hidden in the stitching is a far darker language, tiny patches, cryptic letters, and symbols that speaks volumes to those who understand them.
I would say maybe apart from the motorcycle, or maybe even on top of the motorcycle, it is the most important part of being an outlaw biker.
To outsiders, they're scraps of embroidery. Inside the clubs, they can be badges of honor, marks of violence, or tokens of allegiance.
These patches also mean something like about the identity of the member, but also what a member is willing to do for the club, for example.
Prosecutors in Denmark argue that these patches form a kind of shadow reward system, proof of deeds committed and loyalty earned. Their importance runs so deep that in Denmark, the grave of a Bandidos biker was exhumed just to strip him of his vest.
Det var et spørgsmål om ære, da Bandidos-rockeren Niels Peter Danvolds gravfred fredag blev krænket. Rockerens rygmærke er fjernet fra graven, det fastslog Københavns politi i dag.
So, what does these patches really mean? What do they reveal about the men who wear them? And why are they powerful enough to make someone dig up the dead just to reclaim them? This is Biker History with Magnus. In a massive trial brought by the government against Bandidos in Denmark, the club risks being outlawed in Denmark. Central to the trial is the different patches that the Bandidos and other biker clubs wear on their vests. The government argues that these small patches functions as rewards, status symbols given to members for actions carried out on behalf of the club. Since many of those actions involve illegal activity, the patches are presented as evidence that Bandidos operate not just as a motorcycle club, but as a criminal organization. In other words, they want to prove that the members commit crimes in the name of the club and not as single individuals. This is similar to what the American government has done with the mafia when they used the RICO Act against the members, convicting them as a criminal enterprise. The biker vest, as a whole, is first and foremost a symbol of membership, but you can also read it patch by patch and learn very specific things about the member who wears it. These patches signify something about the identity of the members, but also about what a member has done for the club. In Bandidos, for example, first you are a hangaround, meaning that you are a supporter of the club. When you advance to prospect, which is a trial member, you begin to resemble a Bandidos member. Probationary is the next step, and then at last, a full membership, similar to almost all other outlaw biker clubs.
De jongen die heeft nou zijn tweede balk gehad, omdat hij zijn inzet heeft getoond bij Satudara. Draag hem erin geweten. Ik wens je heel veel succes.
They get MC for Motorcycle Club and the 1% diamond, which has become a central symbol in the biker culture and are also worn by clubs such as Hells Angels, Satudara, and Bandidos. 1% is a reference to the Hollister riot in 1947, where bikers went crazy and created bedlam in the small town.
The headlines shouted havoc and terror over the 4th of July weekend in 1947. During the weekend, 4,000 motorcycle riders roared into Hollister, California for a 3-day rally.
A bunch of young men who were part of a biker gang showed up just looking for a good time and took over the town and effectively terrorized the townsfolk.
In an interview later, one biker said that this was the action of the 1%, not everybody.
Openly drinking, falling down drunk in the streets.
But it was never the riot and the pandemonium that it was made out to be in the media shortly thereafter.
The 1% patch, worn by outlaw bikers, means they identify as part of the 1% of bikers who live outside law and mainstream motorcycle clubs, embracing an outlaw lifestyle. But in Satudara, the 1% patch is awarded for committing serious violence for the club.
Nico is gefeliciteerd. Jongens, jullie weten dat een 1% teken speciale tekens hebt bij ons in de club. Weten we allemaal toch? Nico heb je iets speciaals gedaan. Een daad van agressie. Er was een probleem wat Nico hardhandig de grond in heeft gedrukt. In bijzijn van mijzelf. En vandaar dat je 1% krijgt. Dus ik vraag je, draag hem met eer in geweten. En gefeliciteerd.
In Bandidos, according to the police, It's the Expect No Mercy patch that is rewarded for committing violence for the club.
What they did in the Dutch case is they listed several examples from 2007 onwards, mostly German examples, but also from Sweden and Australia, where Bandidos members had committed serious violence and in some cases even lethal violence, and afterwards had been awarded this Expect No Mercy patch.
While in Hells Angels, a Dequielo patch worn over the heart signifies a person who has confronted and opposed law enforcement officers during a routine stop or arrest. Similar to this patch is the Hells Angels Filthy Few. However, this patch is given to club members who have committed murder or at least very serious violence. In Denmark, the first Hells Angels chapter have the record for the most members awarded this patch.
Alle på dette Hells Angels gruppebillede har begået mord. Bullshit-præsidentens morder er en af dem. Blandt de europæiske Hells Angels har danskerne en bemærkelsesværdig rekord. Ingen andre har begået så mange mord.
The first one to get this in Scandinavia was Jørn Jønke Nielsen for murdering Makrell, the first president of Bullshit MC. Bent Svane Nielsen got it for the double murder of two members of the same club at a bar in Copenhagen, where he also critically injured a third. Jørgen Fehår Nielsen and Michael Brookside got it for the killing of a Bandidos member at Kastrup Airport in 1996, and many more have joined them later. In addition, the club awards a Death Head Purple Heart to members who have shed their blood in defense of the Angels. The GDC patch, which stands for Grim Death Crew, marks a tight-knit subgroup inside the Bandidos. Their function is mainly to do enforcement, protection, and backing the club's leadership, where the highest-ranking members have Spanish titles, revealing their function and position in the club. For example, if you're called a kind of security chief, you wear the patch Sergeant at Arms.
The function of the patches is, one, to show affiliation, right? I mean, you are part of which club, of which chapter. And the other patches, so specifically the rank patches, of course, they show the rank, they show the status, they show to like other club members within the club, but also to people from outside, like who is it you're dealing with? Am I dealing with a hanger-on or am I dealing with the president of the club?
The police got interested in these titles already in the 90s, when Bandidos and Hells Angels were at war. The biggest catalyst for this was the rocket attack on Hells Angels headquarters in Copenhagen. In the attack, 2 were killed and 19 injured by a rocket-propelled grenade. Shortly before this, the police observed that the Danish Bandidos got their first Côte de Grace patch, which is believed to hide an even darker secret. This patch is thought to be a reward for serious violence or murder, and is at the center of the trial in Denmark. One of the bearers of both Expect No Mercy and the Côte de Grace mark is Niels Paulsen, who was the perpetrator of the rocket attack. This picture of Niels Paulsen is from 1997. He's wearing his vest, but there are no special marks on it. But today, after his release from prison, Niels Paulsen is now the bearer of both marks. These symbols are so important that in 2003, a deceased member's grave was opened in what is called grave desecration in legal terms.
Der var en vest, altså en Bandidos vest i kisten, da han blev begravet. Og den er der ikke mere, så det vil sige, det er den, der er væk, og ikke andet.
De prøver at skaffe de æressymboler tilbage, som den afdøde rocker har fået med sig i graven. Det er jo vest og smykker, der er sådan beviser på, at man er optaget som en del af gruppen. Og når man så forbryder sig mod gruppens love, som han har gjort det her, jamen, så skal gruppen have symbolerne tilbage.
The episode underlines the almost religious value these patches carry. They are proof of membership, proof of deeds, and proof of standing. Inadvertently, Donoval had helped the police to solve the murder of an ordinary family man who had been shot and killed when he tried to stop 2 Bandidos bikers from robbing a bank. Before Donoval died of cancer, he had been heard in a secret surveillance by the police, whispering that Robin Nielsen should have been given a second CDG mark for the murder at the bank. Donoval's identification of the 2 robbers, Jakob Wienenfeldt and Robin Nielsen, was enough for the court to get them both sentenced for murder. During the court case, it turned out that Robin Nielsen now had a patch with the letters CDG, short for Coup de Grace. Another patch is TCB, which stands for Taking Care of Business, and is given for violence, but is inferior to the two other patches. The police's perception of the meaning behind the patches is that it is neither a function nor a rank, but a distinction, a reward for violence or murder. But the bandidos deny this and say it's given to members who have suffered for the club.
In court, there are always two narratives, right? The public prosecutor's office will say one thing, this constitutes rewarding someone for committed violence, and the club, in this case the bandidos, will say, no, that's not the case, you've completely misunderstood its meaning.
In the Danish trial, 12 bandidos members are bearers of the mark coup de grâce. 6 of them have been convicted for murder, meaning that if the police theory is correct, there are several murders that hasn't been solved that have been committed by the bandidos. A patch that looks like decoration can be a court piece of evidence, and a question the Danish trial asks is blunt and consequential. When symbols are used to reward violence, can associations still claim the right to exist?
They are very closed subcultures, so if you really want to know what a patch means, you will have to ask a member, and of course they have no interest in telling the outside world what a particular patch means.
Whether a nation's judges will accept the translation is the question that now hangs in the balance. If the prosecution win at the Supreme Court, bandidos will be permanently banned in Denmark. And whatever the verdict, the story of those tiny stitched symbols will remain striking examples of how meaning, memory, and menace can be sewn together on a single leather back. Remember to subscribe so you don't miss my next Biker video.